Oh, God. Let's see. Got it. Is this live? Oh, jeez. Okay. Am I live? Every time I do a live stream, they always add new features, so it throws me off a little bit. But okay, I think we're live. All right. Hey. All right, welcome back to the channel. My name's Joe. This is the Idaho Prepper channel, and as you can see, I'm in my pantry. I haven't done a live stream in a while, so bear with me. I'm a little rusty here, but I wanted to do this for a while, but I've just been so busy lately. I was supposed to have, this is usually normally like my slow season, but I've just gotten really busy with all kinds of stuff lately. So this is kind of a subject that I've been wanting to do a video on for a while, basically on just how to prepare for a full-scale EMP attack. So before I get into this, I'll just kind of go ahead and share with you what's been going on with me lately. Like I said, I've just been busy. I've actually just been helping a neighbor out, trying to get her roof on before the winter starts up. Observation post Charlie, hey, welcome to the live show. I used to do these every Saturday night, but like I said, I've just been busy and working on the weekends, and I get home, I was just too tired. So it's good to be back with you all. So yeah, just been busy. It's a gray day. The weather's saying that it's supposed to be nice and sunny, but I'm not seeing it. It's like dark and gloomy out right now here in North Idaho. So, and it's cold. So that's why I got my sweater on. Yeah, I've had some videos that I've been working on and that just have not. I've just been running into hiccup after hiccup as far as getting them out. And the main one has been this canvas tent one. I've been working on it for forever. Scott Peskowitz, love your videos. Keep it up. Thank you. Welcome to the channel. So I've been working on these two videos. Yesterday I spent the whole day doing a Faraday cage build, and it was terrible. It must have been like the Friday the 13th bad luck just struck me hard. And I spent the whole day doing this Faraday cage video. And once I got it, it was like at the very end, the last part of the Faraday cage, and the Faraday cage didn't work. And I don't know, it never crossed my mind that it wasn't going to work. I thought for sure it was going to work, but it just didn't work. And I put so much time and energy into it. And so, yeah, it was pretty upsetting. And it was kind of inspired by this EMP video live feed I'm about to do now. But I wanted to build like a big Faraday cage, and I was gonna build it out of this old toolbox. It's a big, like, those big construction toolboxes, like the knack boxes. So I had one of those that I actually got for free from my brother-in-law about 10 years ago. And it's just been sitting in my garage, collecting dust. I haven't really done much with it, just kind of holding some boat parts and stuff like that. So I dragged it out and I got it washed and cleaned up. I replaced the locks, the locking mechanism, which was quite a chore. Got it ground, like sanded down, primed, painted. I bought this foam insulation kit and lined the whole inside of the box with foam. And then I even tapped and put a grounding wire. So it was like this beautiful, it turned out to be this beautiful project. But at the end, once I put my cell phone in there and closed it and locked it all up and called it with my wife's phone, and it just rang. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. And I learned a little bit about Faraday cages. I mean, I guess I'll say I got something out of the video. Is that it's got to be airtight. And there were two things, it just didn't dawn on me, that made it to where that box was never going to work. Short of me just basically taking aluminum tape and wrapping it all the way around the the closure part of the box, is that I still had the locking mechanism. So in the end, it was just like, this is just it's an impractical thing. So it was upsetting, but either way, I mean, it's a nice looking Faraday cage that just doesn't work. So I don't know. I will probably just take the foam out of it and the grounding wire off, and at least I got a nice toolbox again to collect dust in my garage. So that's that. The other project that I've been working on is this paint. This is a painter's tarp that I basically added these rivets to, and I put this patch liner in. I bought this patch, and this all works out really well. And basically what this was going to be like a hot tent. So I bought one of those wood stoves, which wasn't too bad I think I got a pretty good deal on one. It's like $100. I'll leave a link in the description of this video. And I've tested that out, so I'm excited to get in a tent. But I started pricing, shopping the actual hot tents, and they're just way too expensive. And I did some kind of research on the reviews. So any of the synthetic tents, like hot tents, I guess what happens is immediately, I mean, if you don't have a really good spark arrestor at the top of your chimney, you'll get little ash particles, and as soon as they hit your, those vinyl tents, it just melts through, and your tent pretty much starts getting destroyed immediately. So I thought, well, it'd be nice to have a canvas, a canvas tent, but they're just, $500-600 or more. That was like on the low end, and I just didn't want to spend that. So I'm like thinking what I always think. I'm like, well, I can just make this myself. All I need is some canvas. I'll just go get I can get canvas painter's tarps for super cheap. So I bought a painter. It's a 9x12 painter's tarp, and I put these eyelets in it, and I put this canvas. This is like, it's not self-adhesive, but it's like iron-on canvas patch. And I put it on this side and that side, and then put my eyelet through it. And it just worked. It worked out perfect. So I was really happy with the way that turned out. And then I made a waterproofing solution, which basically was comprised of silicone and paint thinner, and I just mixed it up really good, and then I sprayed it on with a HVLP sprayer, and so I got it on nice and evenly. So I've been making the video like on how to make this for like a week now, because it's been quite a process. I didn't, with a lot of these videos, I go into it with kind of an idea of how it's going to work, and I'm always, totally underestimating it. And as soon as I'm 20-30 minutes into the project, I start realizing, oh wow, this is going to be a little more time consuming than I realized. So but that's where I'm at. This tent's ready to go. The only last thing I need is a stove jack to put on here, and I ordered it, and I was just getting ready to do the final scene for that video, and I just could not find it. I don't know what happened. I don't know if my kids took it, or most likely I put it in a nice place. You guys ever do that where you're like, I'm gonna put this right here so that it doesn't get lost, and then you put it in its special place, and then it's gone. So I don't know. I hid it from myself pretty good. So I'm like, forget it. I spent almost a whole day, or half a day at least, looking for it, and I just gave up and ordered a new one. So that's what I'm waiting on. Hopefully it'll show up soon so I can finish that video, and then also just get this tent out and start using it, because I'm actually excited to get this tent set up and start using it and having it function as a hot tent. So looking forward to that video. Let me grab a water here real quick before I start this show. But yeah, a lot of crazy stuff going on in our news these days, in our world these days. So this EMP, idea that I put together is not too far-fetched. We're probably And the situation that's going on in Israel and the Middle East right now is probably has us closer to a potential for a nuclear war than like the Russia thing and the China thing combined, in my opinion. Because you have some nuclear power, capable people that are like this close to getting involved in that conflict. And that's all I'm going to say about that subject, because I don't want to be a political channel, but it's definitely some cause for concern. I'm more alarmed about this event that's unfolding than the whole Russia China thing. Not to say that they're out of the mix either, because there's still potential for them to get involved. But so somebody had posed the question. The thing that gave me the idea for this subject matter is that somebody had posed the question in an earlier video a while back about what if you only had 24 hours to prepare? Like you knew something was going to happen, and it was like, and this is for like somebody who's not a prepper, who's not prepping. And it's kind of an interesting subject. Like if you would ask somebody like just a normal everyday person, like, hey, if you knew you had 24 hours before like all hell was about to break loose, like let's say we're going to be invaded or something, what would you do? You had 24 hours, and this is like presented to somebody, let's say that has like, they have no defense preparations, they have no food preparations, nothing. Be interesting to hear, what somebody, the average person would do. So I think it'd be quite different than like a prepper, somebody who's pretty well prepared, what they would do. Because I'd just be kind of topping off certain preps and maybe putting an emphasis on other preps. But that question that was posed never gave a specific as to like what was about to come within 24 hours. They just said, what would you do if you had 24 hours to prepare? So that gave me the, that led me to think, well, it obviously it depends highly on the situation that's about to take place within 24 hours. And so I thought, well, if I knew I had like 24 hours to prepare for like a full scale EMP attack, like a major one that just knocked everything out into orbit, like you're talking, no power. The infrastructure is knocked out for a year minimum. So no power, no transportation. Some people, a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their head around this subject, because a lot of people just take for granted how much stuff is reliant on energy and on power. And even, and I've thought about this subject quite a bit, and there was some stuff when I started putting this preparation list together that I had not thought about. And because it's really hard to kind of play the tape through. You don't realize it until you're in it. And sometimes it's like when we go through these power outages, like because we go through them quite a bit here in Idaho, like during the winter, we'll have a tree fall down and take out the power lines, and we'll be without power for 24 hours, 48 hours sometimes. And those will give you some kind of an idea, what you need to do, but nowhere near what it would be like if you just lost power. The power wasn't coming back for 6 months to a year. It changes everything. So, so the things that started coming to mind, well, immediately the first thing I thought, like, well, what would be the first thing I would do? I have 24 hours, which means whatever supplies I need, I have to have access to those supplies. It's not because it's not enough time to start ordering stuff, because it's just, it's not going to be able to get here. So everything I would need, I need to have immediate access to. It have to be stuff that I would need to be able to drive into town, come back. So the first thing that came to mind was basically I need to start, basically how all my preps are set up right now. I would need to essentially turn my preps into renewable preps. They'd have to be renewable. So the first thing that came to mind was my food situation. And the closest thing we have to a renewable food source right now is our chickens. But they're reliant on some things, especially in the wintertime. One is their feed, so they're solely reliant on grain throughout the winter. I don't buy all, a winter's worth of feed for my chickens. It's just too expensive. I just don't have the budget for it. I usually buy it like a couple bags at a time. Our chickens go through, the chickens that we have now, we have 19 chickens. They go through, let's see, and I apologize for any background noise that goes on. My kids and the dogs are running around. But anyways, the chickens are going through about, I'd say, a 50-pound sack every 3 weeks. So roughly a month, I just have to start rationing that food. The chickens would just have to go on a little bit of a diet. But I could, realistically speaking, it's a 50-pound sack a month. Okay, so I have to go get, at least 6 months, if not more, of feed to get them through the winter. But I'm most likely going to be adding chickens to that situation, to our flock in this type of a situation. So I can't access chickens right now, so I have to turn the chickens that we have into basically renewable chickens, which means I need an incubator that I'm going to have to figure out either some way of powering, right? So I'm going to have a generator. See, this is what I mean when I say, like, you got to play the tape through, because I'm thinking I need an incubator. And I'm like, well, how am I going to run the incubator? I don't have any power. So you'd have to figure out a way to run that incubator. If not, you're just basically hoping that those chickens can raise, just breed the chickens in their boxes, which is totally possible. And the second part of that is I need a rooster, because I got to we don't have a rooster. We have to fertilize the chicken eggs, in order to turn them into a renewable food source. So I actually know quite a few people in our neighborhood that have roosters, so it wouldn't be that difficult for me to go and procure a rooster and just bring it here. Our chickens probably wouldn't be very happy about it. I don't know. Just bringing a rooster into the den of female chickens. Maybe they'd be happy. I don't know. But when I have to start, in other words, I just have to turn our chicken situation from eggs, from just, some hens that are producing eggs, to chickens that are producing eggs and meat. Luckily, our chicken coop and the chicken run that I built is actually big enough to accommodate at least twice the amount of chickens that we have. So I'm good in that category. But that's what I'd have to do. So that would those would be the two things I could get going, like immediately, to at least have some type of reliable, renewable food source. The second thing was water. So on our property, we do have a creek that runs through the property. It's not a very high producing creek, especially in the fall and late summer season. It kind of goes down to, I don't know, I'd say like 20 gallons a minute, I'm guessing, at its lowest point. And then when spring comes, there's more than enough water in there. And it pretty much stays that way almost till the end of summer. But the thing to keep in mind is that if you're in some type of grid down situation, like, everybody's going to kind of have the same idea. And if you're in a creek, and like in our particular situation, our creek, it's spring fed. So it starts at the top of the mountain, and as it goes down, it gets more water, right? And more water starts to feed it. So it gets heavier as it goes down, but as it starts, there's not very much. So I say we have maybe a dozen people at the most up the hill from us, but if just one or two of them, decided we're gonna take we're just going ahead and consume all the water out of this creek. They easily could. So that'd be something that we'd have to do. We'd have to get together as a community and really evaluate the water situation that we have available and just ration it and be respectful of it so that everybody, can access what water they need. Because most of the wells in my area are very deep wells. Ours, however, isn't. It's actually, and we're fortunate that way. And a lot of it has to do with because I witched the property and I found where our aquifer was. And so we ended up taking our water, not from the aquifer, but just beneath it. So, so we do okay there. It's about 38 feet deep is our well. The upside to that is it doesn't take very much energy to draw from a 38 foot well. You don't need, obviously you don't, the deeper the well, the more powerful the pump, the more energy you're going to expel into trying to get that water to the top. So we could technically, I don't have a hand pump. I'd have no way of really accessing the water from our well as of right now. I don't have a manual hand pump for it. Not even sure if it's something I want to invest in. I mean, if I could, I would. Probably would actually just go, I think, because for a well that shallow, I think we could probably access the water with like solar. So something to consider. It might be something I look into, but definitely we're talking creek water. As far as my water goes, it would be my creek. And then obviously the first thing I do is just fill up as much water as I have access to immediately. So I have about 255-gallon drums on our property that I would fill up, plus we have two water tanks, like, hot water tanks on our property, and then maybe two bathtubs, and that's about it. So that, that's something I have to do. Check into the comment section. Utah Mike, rain catchment. Yeah, good call. Glad I read your comment. So I do actually have a rain catchment, but it's not really designed as it's rain catchment to where it's a detached garage on our property, and the water that sheds off the back goes down. It's all gravel. And my father and I put this in. It's basically a French drain. We put this system in like 2 years ago, I think, and it just catches all the water, and then that water goes into a sump pump tank, which is only, I don't know, like maybe a 20-gallon tank. It's not very big, and there's a sump pump in there, and it just kind of expels the water out a tube into the creek. So probably wouldn't be that difficult for me to just, obviously that pump's not going to be working or functioning, but that tank would fill up, and maybe I could just somehow, kind of rig that little tank as it is into a bigger tank or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna have to kind of revisit that system and see if I can't turn it into something that functions without the sump pump. But definitely all the makings for a water catchment system are there. Probably wouldn't be that difficult for me to turn that into an asset for producing water. So that leaves us basically to the bulk of our water. Once we go through the water that we have on hand in our tanks, like I said, then we're just fully reliant on the creek water, which means that water is going to have to be treated, which means I'm relying on gravity filters. So I have one gravity fed filter, which is my ProPure filter. The filters that I'm looking at right now, the filters that I have in it are like, only have maybe, I don't know, a third of their life left in them before they're done. I got to get new ones. So that's probably something I'll just do right now. well, because I'm gonna have to special order those. It wouldn't be something that I could access within 24 hours, because none of the stores I know around here have gravity fed filters for like a Berkey or a ProPure or something like that. Those filters are always kind of a special item that you have to special order. So I'm probably actually, now that I've been thinking about this list, I'm actually just going to go ahead and order like an extra couple sets, probably of the cheaper ones, because they're not that expensive. They're like under $30 for a pair. So I'll probably order a couple extra sets of those just so I have them on hand, because that's, definitely a potential. You don't have that filtration system, it would be really tough. So I'm going to go ahead and secure those filters now. So yeah, filtering the water, just, and then that got me to the second part. This is actually like step 4 in this process, which is bathing and hygiene. So, like I said, our septic system is, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but our septic system is reliant on power as well. It's not gravity fed because of the way our house is situated, where our gray water has to be pumped up to our leach field. So because of that means that when the power goes out, our septic system is useless. So we would be reliant on an outhouse. So I'd have to start creating an outhouse. I'd have to dig a hole, and I'd have to do it quickly, especially if this 24 hours started now. I'd have to start digging that hole like right now before we head into winter, and then the ground freezes, and then I can't dig a hole. So that would be another thing I'd start doing. Probably not right away, but once I got all my food and water figured out, I'd probably start working on that. And then that led me to how to deal with, and I don't know a lot about outhouses, other than they stink. That's pretty much it, and that you have to use some type of medium to kind of keep the smell down and keep it degrading. That's the right word. So that led me to pine chips. So I'm thinking, okay, well then I guess I'm gonna have to go buy a bunch of pine chips. And I'm thinking, nah, that's not a realistic. So I can't just go spend money on pine chips. I'll just produce pine chips, because I'm gonna be cutting a lot of firewood, right? I'm gonna be cutting a lot of firewood, so I'll be producing the pine chips that way. Then I thought, well, how am I gonna be cutting all the firewood? Is a chainsaw at the effect of an EMP? And I looked it up, and it is. So, and I can't remember what they said it was. It's some component in an electrical system. I'm not even going to attempt to try to remember it, but it's anything that has this component is basically going to be fried and useless during an EMP, and chainsaws fall into that category. So chainsaws are something that you're going to want to protect from an EMP. And that's what made me actually start building the bigger, happy Saturday. Great. Sorry, I didn't catch your name there. And that's what got me to thinking I need to build a bigger Faraday cage so that I can put a chainsaw in there. But unfortunately, that didn't work. Although, however, I will say that Faraday cage that I did start building would work. So if I knew that there was going to be an EMP, then I'd be okay. Because then all I have to do is just put all my stuff in that box that I made, and then just wrap the lid, the opening of the lid and everything with the metal tape, and then it'd be fine. It actually functioned. Once I wrapped the tape around it, then it worked. So I probably do that, at least that way I'd have a chainsaw. But then that means, you see how it's important to kind of actually do these lists and then run through these scenarios in your head, because it really starts to unravel. It's like, it really starts to snowball, because you're like, well, if I got that, then I'm going to need that. And if I'm going to need that, then I'm going to have to get that. So if I have a chainsaw, and that's going to be part of my it's part of my system for procuring wood and pine chips, then I'm going to need fuel. So I'm going to need to stock up on fuel, because originally I was thinking, well, I don't need to stock up on fuel because all the vehicles are going to be, shorted out and worthless. Unless you have one of those, obviously I know somebody's going to bring this up, unless you have one of those EMP protectors devices that you can actually install in your vehicles, which I don't have. They're a little pricey too. I think I looked them up and they're a lot more expensive than I thought. They're like a couple $100, but you can install them to your vehicle, and I forget where they go in your vehicle, in between something and something. And same with your house, you can connect them to your panel box, and it'll protect things in your house. Although I don't know what good that would do, because the power grid would be out. So even if you did salvage your electrical, it's not going to do much good until the actual power grid works. And I'm not even certain those things work, how well they work, because there are different levels of EMP from what I've heard. I'm not an expert in this subject, in this aspect of it, but you can have smaller EMPs and really large full-scale ones that might be so big that they just override whatever type of protective device that you install. So I would probably, after all, would be filling up my gas tanks, and so that way I could at least, protect, run my chainsaw or whatever. Excuse me. Let's see here. I do have the smaller Faraday cages. I actually made a short video on how to make a basic Faraday cage from an ammo can. Those are pretty easy. It's just the downside, they just don't hold a lot. So an ammo can, can hold like a couple handheld radios and some cell phones and a few flashlights, stuff like that. And those actually aren't that good of Faraday cages. I think they're okay. A lot of it depends. I think the best thing you can do for one of those Faraday cages is connect a grounding rod. If you really want to make one of those ammo can Faraday cages really good, you want to connect a heavy gauge grounding rod that connects to like some of your plumbing or something. And that way, that for certain, those things will withstand a pretty heavy duty EMP. City Prepping, I think that's the name of his channel, actually did a pretty good video on building a Faraday cage. If you want to check that out, he's got a pretty good video on how to make a Faraday cage. So basically we're at food, renewable water, and then renewable, and then bathing, or I should say sanitation, and then the bathing thing, because that becomes an issue, especially for us that live up in the mountains, and when it's cold. You just can't fill up a tub of water outside, and then bathe, drain it, and whatever, because everything freezes. Even if you did have enough water to fill up a tub, it's going to freeze and be kind of worthless. So you're probably not going to be getting showers or baths in the winter time, which means you're going to be relying on sponge bathing, something like that, to keep yourself clean. And all these things, are going to be critical to surviving something like this, like hygiene and sanitation. If that's not properly taken care of, you're going to have a lot of bad things start to pop up from poor sanitation, such as dysentery and all kinds of awful things. Let's see. I'm trying to see the other thing I have here. Bartering. So that's the other thing. Is our monetary system would be completely shut down. So when large scale EMP, that's going to be a major subject, is going to be exchanging goods. And I've always thought, I'm always of the school of thought, in any type of situation where we lost access to our monetary system as it stands, like the dollar, what form of monetary system would prop up, we would default to. And in my opinion, it's going to be bartering. A lot of people just assume it's going to default to a precious metal like gold and silver, but there's a lot of, in my opinion, there's a lot of obstacles and a lot of things come up that would interfere with that happening, that I'm not going to get into. It's kind of another subject, but my personal feeling on that is that I think the monetary system that you would see just come into place would be a bartering one, because most people don't have a ton of gold and silver to trade, for one. So it'd be a little difficult to prop something like that up. Number two, the gold and silver is just, it's useless. Its only real value is that of exchange, that it's a tangible asset, but I'm not saying that that's not huge, but really most people are just going to want, they're just going to be using it because they need stuff. So most people are just going to be, I think, trading stuff. So therefore, I think the things that are going to be in demand would be, one, medical supplies. I feel like would be what people would need, would be huge next to food. Obviously, food would be basically water, food, and then medical supplies. Some people I know, I don't drink alcohol, so we don't have any on hand at our house, but I was thinking I might, just get some, just so I have it available, because alcohol can be used for a whole number of things, like even preserving food and making medicines and stuff like that, and it can be used as a painkiller if somebody needs to go through some minor surgery or something. I mean, it can kind of function as like a substitute of like what do they call it? I don't know. I'm just losing my train of thought here, but it can be, used as a painkiller. And I was thinking, tobacco? Is tobacco still a thing? Not a lot of people smoke anymore, so I don't know how much good it would do to stock up on it. But now I'm thinking, I don't know, if you're in a high stress situation, maybe a lot of people would start smoking again. So in that case, maybe it would be good to store some tobacco. You probably would see that. A lot of people would probably start developing really bad habits if, the quality of life just tanked and people were just, depressed. You'd probably see a lot of bad habits start up, such as drinking and smoking. So maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to have those things on hand. And then the last thing I came up with would be hunting. And this is obviously something that, like I said, you have 24 hours. My opinion on the hunting thing, or relying on, I'll get to your comments as soon as, I think, because I don't have my laptop set up or anything to read comments like I usually do with these live feeds. So I'm going to try to access them once I'm done here, and I'll kind of go through your comments and respond to you that way. But the last thing I have on my list here is hunting and procuring food from the wild. So in my opinion, I think what's going to happen in any type of grid down, within 48 to 72 hours, you're going to see like panic is going to start to take in, and a lot of people are going to start having the same ideas about staying alive. And probably within 48 to 72 hours, you're going to see a lot of people are going to be like, I need to go, because all the food's going to be gone. It's going to be depleted. The grocery stores are going to be completely depleted within less than 48, 72 hours. And then people are going to quickly start, assuming or, going to alternative food sources like wildlife. And what will happen, you got a bunch of people, especially people who never really been out in the woods, just running out in the woods to try and get a deer or something. It's just going to chase the deer way up into inaccessible climates. And then they'll just be inaccessible to people. So if if that's something maybe you want to think about, you want to do that right away before everybody else got the same idea. So we, like, as of right now, we have lots of turkeys running through our property, and this is like deer and elk season, and everybody's like just snubbing their nose to turkeys, which is probably why the turkeys are just walking around flagrantly, because they just know they're off the menu right now. Nobody's hunting them. So but I think in a grid down situation, those turkeys would get shot back up to the top of the food list, food chain really quick, and they'd be a hot commodity, and everybody'd be shooting them, and they'd go run, and you wouldn't see turkeys again. And so you will probably want to take them while they're still walking around real cocky and arrogant. I just did a video on procuring turkey meat too, so you can procure, you can, I keep saying procure, you can preserve turkey meat really easily through smoking and everything. And that's what I did. I just did a video on that not too long ago. So I probably take as many turkeys as I could, and then, just start procuring that meat as quickly as I could as like in the jerky. And because that'll last a long time. And jerky a lot of people don't think about it, but jerky can be reconstituted as a meat. So you can put it in hot water and it'll kind of come back as almost like a chunk of meat. So not a bad thing to think about, but it'd be something, like I said, this is a 24 hour, you have 24 hours. So, to do what you need to do. So those were some of the things that I thought I would try to do immediately in a situation like that. So let me know your thoughts on this, anything that you might do differently or add to it, and just kind of what you think about that. So I'm going to try to pull up some of your comments here. And let's see. I'm going to try to go through them. I'm going to start at the top. Okay, so we had Observation Post Charlie. Hey, afternoon, new subscriber. Scott Peskowitz. I think I said that right, Peskowitz. Love your videos. Keep it up. Thank you. Harmonious Ken, there you are. Hope all is well. Thanks, buddy. You too. Hopefully I can get these names right. Sidonian Knight. Hey, Kydonian, not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Greetings from Germany. Right on. Your content is very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Welcome. Eastwood Prepper. Hey, Joe. Thank you for the extra snares. Oh, hey, I always knew people order stuff from me. And, if you ever order anything from my stores, just let me know that you're a subscriber. And I'll throw in some extra stuff. I kind of figured, you are, because I'll get orders usually after I put out a video. So I'm just kind of assuming that. So I always try to throw in some extra stuff. So for those of you who wonder if you ever want to order anything from my stores, I almost always do that. I always throw in an extra thing, just for support, supporting me, because you're supporting the channel really when you buy that stuff more than anything. So I appreciate it. It's a way of showing my appreciation. Let's see here. I'll finish reading your post. So, hey, Joe, thank you for the extra snares. Excited to try them out. And unexpectedly, the cat tried them out first. That's good. Yeah, you always got to test them out on the pets or the kids. Carlos Acosta, hello from Tampa. Hey, how's it going? Utah Mike, late joining in. Well, hey, no worries. I did an early. This isn't usual for me, but I'm doing an early live cast today. Utah Mike, rain catchment. Yeah, thank you I did catch your post there, so thanks for bringing that up. Here, I'm going to actually try to use this one here. Utah Mike, I use LCB totes for each at 275 gallons. Oops. Shoot. Hold on. Sorry, lost the feed there. Oh, I gotta go back. Hold on. Utah Mike, I use LCB or ICB totes each for each at 275 gallons each. Oh, for like water. Ghost Forest Preparedness. Happy Saturday, brother. I can feel change. Sorry, my finger's in the way here. I can feel a change in the air. Stay alert and get ready, everyone. Yeah, for sure. Dale Stoner, chainsaw does not have a circuit board, so you would think it will still work. I don't know. I read a video on it, and this guy was he was actually doing something to make his chainsaw resist a Faraday cage, and he basically said, I wish I could think of the name, but any type of machine that has, I forget what it is. I want to say like a two-way switch or something, some type of switch. You need to protect it from an EMP, or it's vulnerable to an EMP. Forest Ghost Preparedness. We made a Faraday cage out of a galvanized trash can, smaller plastic trash can inside, then wrapped all the electronics in tinfoil. I think that would do it. Well, what I've learned, as long as it's like airtight and nothing, you have the metal contact on your closure, you should be fine. Double Bit Outdoor Adventures. All of my new chainsaws have M-Tronics, which is a small amount of electronics for auto tune. Utah Mike, I added battery power chainsaws, rechargeable battery with solar. Yeah, you're just going to have to make them EMP proof though, I think. Utah Mike, I made Faraday cages with job site knack box. Well, you got to let me know how you did it, because I was not able to do it with mine. If you want, I can, well, nah, it doesn't make sense. I was like, I'm just going to post this video. I was like tempted because I put so much time and energy into making that video and money. I was just like, almost tempted to just post it anyways, but I'm like, what's the point of that? Like, here's how to make a Faraday cage that doesn't work. Utah Mike. Oh, wait, no, sorry. I missed Homestead Family, Idaho. Food and water, coffee, diapers. I have cloth diapers, brand new, unused, and cloth liners. Yeah, see? That's why we need females chiming in, because we don't, like, as men, we're not thinking of diapers. But, yeah, diapers. Diapers for the adults, too, because they'll probably be crapping themselves during an EMP. Utah Mike, I have enough food storage for 24 to 30 months. Wow, that's huge. I do not plan to venture into the woods with the craziness going on. Me neither. Homestead Family, Idaho, did you test your Faraday box? Utah Mike. Oh. Dale Stoner, 50 people trying to shoot one deer. Yeah, exactly. That's why the hunting thing is just not going to be a viable option unless you're living way out in Alaska where there's nobody near you. Rachel, hello again from Rachel. Rachel, we need to carry some personal protection today. Yeah, everybody should be armed all the time. Rachel, how are you? I'm good. Rachel, we need power generator and solar power. So do we. We need a solar generator here too. That was definitely something that came up. They're expensive. But in 24 hours, if I had access to one, I mean, solar generators aren't something that I see I had to check like our local, one of our stores that would have it. I think of the stores that might, if anybody's going to have a solar generator, it's going to be North 40, which is a store, kind of near town. But I'm not sure. I never really looked for one. But I think that's like something that you're just going to have to order, special order. Rachel, lots of first aid, yeah. Crypto Rick, there you are, buddy. I haven't seen you. Hope all is well, buddy. You too, man. Glad you chimed in. Yeah, I'm doing the Saturday morning live streams now. The late nights just got too brutal. Rachel says you can get them at Patriot Prepper. Okay. They have them. Okay. All right. Well, that's about it for the chats there. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Looks like you guys are all subscribers, so I don't need to say don't forget to subscribe, but are you in northern or southern Idaho? I'm in northern Idaho. But for the people who watch this live stream after it's been recorded, I'll just go ahead and say, please subscribe to my channel and hit that thumbs up button. I appreciate it. Utah Mike Sportsman's Warehouse carries Coal Zero. I live in Post Falls. Like the Homestead Family Idaho. Like though. Yeah. Like the video. Patriot Seller 2. And hit the notification bell, because if you guys like these live streams, that's pretty much the only thing that's going to alert you when I'm going live. I don't usually, it gives me the option with these live streams to kind of give an advanced notice, but I've never really seen, I don't know how well it functions, that feature functions, because, you get all my notifications. It doesn't seem to I don't know. I've never really seen a difference for when I do an advance notice that I'm going to go live as opposed to just going live and just winging it right there. Oh, before I forget, and I was going to go live when this happened, but was it Monday? This Monday I hit 10,000 subscribers. So thank you to everybody who's been supporting me. That was huge. I can't believe how quickly I reached 10,000, but I thank you to everybody who's been supporting me and subscribed to get me to that point. That's just awesome. To me, that was hitting that 10,000. I'm not sure why, but I felt like, I'd finally hit that real achievement. All right. It was cool when I hit 1,000, but I just really, thank you, Crypto Rick. But I really, that just felt like, well, they like me. They really like me. But yeah, no, thank you to everybody who's supported the channel. I'm humbled by that 10,000. That's huge. Pretty cool stuff. So couldn't have done it without you, obviously. So I think that's it. Unless you guys have any questions for me, like I said, I'm going to be putting as soon as. I always have this problem. I don't know what it is about my personality, but I have this really hard. Once I start something, it's really difficult for me to move on to the next thing until it's done. If I have a hiccup like I'm in the middle of a video and there's a hiccup, something that, you know, keeps me from doing that video, it's really hard for me to just like put it to the side and like start another one. I just want to try to knock them out one at a time. Also because it's difficult to like start a video and then have like a gap, a period of time go by, and then try to pick up back like where I left off. So I try to avoid that. But unfortunately, the tent video is just going to be one of those videos. It's just going to be, I'm just going to have to pick up, and hopefully the footage, I still have all the footage, because that footage is like on two different SIM cards now, and I have some on my phone. So I'm going to have to be, you know, just patching that video together from, it's going to be a pain. I'm not looking forward to editing that video and putting it together. It's going to be tricky. I really need to like stop, what I need to stop doing, and I always get myself into these videos, I need to stop doing these really elaborate videos that are just comprised of multiple things, especially the how-to stuff. I always go into it like really cocky, thinking like, oh, just build a Faraday cage, like it should be easy, I just need a couple things. And then, you know, 3 days into the project, and then I get to the end, it didn't even work. So I need to start simplifying my videos, and just really preparing a little bit better, making sure that I have all of the parts before I start the video. But once this tent's done, I'm going to, my real goal is like, I want to really start doing some more like some camping videos. So I'm excited to get out in the snow this year and start doing some cool hot like videos with my stove, and doing different type of kind of camp outs. So I got a list of different ideas. One video I've been really wanting to do is doing one, I want to do like an overnight with just my get home bag and see how well it functions. This is my get home bag here. Because when I just did that get home video, that I did a video of my truck emergency system, and my bug out bag was, I mean, not bug out, my get home bag was part of that video. That video did really well, by the way. So thank you for everyone watching that. But it's good to do those videos too. And then I get comments that, you know, where people mention stuff that I forgot, and I'm like, God, I can't believe I spaced that. And one was a blanket. I didn't even have a blanket in that as part of my get home system. I had remembered, I mean, I had the blanket ready to go. I actually just bought this wool blanket here, and I was going to incorporate it into my get home system, but I just forgot. I forgot to put it in there. So that sucked, but that's just how it goes. I always do these videos, and there's always something I forget. I actually had a, what do they call it? I forget what they call them. Like it's in here. Probably not going to be able to find it. You know what I'm talking about? It's called a something key, but it's like a key that you can turn water on. Remind me in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. I forget what the first name of it is. But I have one of those in here. And it was almost the reason I actually bought it to for a job that I was doing, because I never owned one. I was doing a commercial job, and I needed to access the water on this commercial building to run my pressure washer. And so I bought this key to do that. And then I was like, cool, now I finally have one of these. I can put it in my get home bag. So it's usually kind of something you see in like urban get home bags, people who are like in the city and feel like they're going to have to go through the city and access water. So it was just never really something that crossed my mind to get, but I do have it in there. And it was like the whole reason why I was like, oh, cool, now my get home system is complete, because I have the little water key. You guys, does anybody know? I'm surprised nobody knows. It's like right on the tip of my tongue what those keys are called. What is it? Silcock. Yeah, there it is. It's a crazy name. Like, how can I remember that? Yeah, Silcock key. So I got one of those. Yeah, and I forgot to show it in the video. So anyways, I do want to do a video on my Get Home Bag system, where I test it out and basically just do an overnight, build a shelter and see how well it functions, and also see how cold I get. I mean, I have this wool blanket. Everybody says like wool is really nice, but I don't know. I mean, it's getting right now. It's getting pretty cold at night. It's probably dropping down to like the low 40s right now. So we'll see. I mean, before I start that video, I'll probably cheat and get extra clothes on. Probably wear a little extra clothes than I normally do. And that's probably something that I should actually keep in my truck with me, is just I have an extra set of clothes, but I don't keep anything warm like a jacket or anything. So maybe I got to start doing that, especially as we get into these colder months. So, but yeah, I'll be doing a video on that, and yeah, and then just stay tuned for it. So again, thank you to everybody who supported my channel and helped me get to 10,000. That was like a huge accomplishment. And if you have any questions or want to add anything to this EMP video I just did today, let me know in the comment section. Subscribe to my channel. Hit that thumbs up button. The Urbex division, thumbs up. And with that, stay prepared. Now I gotta turn this thing off. How do I close out?